thank you all for being here. As you can see, this place is very busy. It needs to be. We are in a period of time in which a lot of people need help. So as Amy will tell you, they are seeing record demand here. They told me that they are seeing pandemic levels of demand for food. That is off the charts. And that is because what has happened with SNAP. I want to give you a quick update on the lawsuit there. So once the Department of Agriculture announced that they were effectively zeroing out SNAP, we took them to court. We won. Now we're just fighting over what the remedy is going to look like. They have said they're going to provide 50% payments. We're asking them to provide full payments. What I need folks to know that as of 5 a.m. this morning, that payment did start to hit people's EBT cards. So whereas some other states are having a little more difficulty with processing, NCDHHS has been working around the clock, and they were able to get those payments out as of today. So there was a brief interruption in service for a matter of a few days, but people are seeing funds on their EBT card, not 100%, but roughly 50%. Some are seeing a little bit more. Some folks are seeing up to 65% payment on their card, depending on their overall eligibility. But the average that folks are seeing right now is a 50% payment. Again, we are in court asking the judge to impose a full payment. We'll see what happens with that lawsuit. We are here today because no matter what happens in court today or tomorrow, we are going to see record demand this month at food banks like this one all across the state. And so we are asking people to please step up, be especially generous with your local food banks, including this one, and do what you can. If you can volunteer, that's great. But if you can just write a check, that is fantastic. Their money goes farther than yours when it comes to buying food. They can get a lot more food for the same dollar than you can, so consider just going online and making a donation to these folks. That is what they need the most right now, is a monetary donation from you so that they can buy the food they need to at a reduced rate and to provide it to the surge of demand that they're seeing right now. I'm going to introduce to you Amy. Amy is running the show, and she has a ton of experience here, and I think she's right behind me. All right, Amy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, even before the shutdown, we were seeing record-breaking numbers. Is more hunger than we've seen in our 34 counties in 2 decades. And now this has been an added level on top of that. Our partners were reporting before the shutdown, they're seeing anywhere between 20 and 60% increases month over month. And now we have our federal employees who have not received paychecks that may be accessing the system for the first time, and our SNAP beneficiaries who now thankfully have received partial benefits, but the reality is we know most of those SNAP benefits don't meet the needs for the full month. So if you are in need of food, there is food for all. We have 700 partners throughout our 34 counties. Please go to our website, foodbankcenc.org. On our food finder, you can put in your zip code and find the pantry locations closest to you, as well as their hours, so that you can get the support you need. We know how difficult it is to ask for help, but we are here to partner with you, all of our neighbors, no matter what during this time. And as you heard, we need your support more than ever. Encourage you to volunteer. Like you see the wonderful folks behind me, it takes hundreds of volunteers every single day, and it takes your monetary support to make sure that we can make sure every neighbor does not have to worry about their next meal.
Thanks. Before we take questions, I just want to be sure and say this is going to impact over 1 million North Carolinians. It's going to impact 600,000 kids. It's going to impact 40,000 babies. These are the folks who need your help. So this is the moment for extra help, for going online, making a monetary contribution, helping to create a bridge to the moment when we have full funding of SNAP payment. And now, happy to take any questions. Yes?
What happens if the contingency funds dry up? Does the state have a plan B to step in?
The question is, what happens if the contingency funds dry up, and does the state have a plan? I'm not sure if the state legislature is working on a plan. I will say you're talking to about over $200 million a month just to the state of North Carolina. That is an enormous gap that the state legislature would be called upon to fill. There are other buckets of money. that the Agriculture Department has access to. That's the argument we're making to the court as far as why they should be providing full benefit payment and not partial benefit payment. So that's the argument that we're going to make. However, it is very clear that before that happens, this shutdown needs to come to an end. We need to get the negotiators in the room so that we are not faced with a worst case scenario of this emergency fund running out and people truly being faced with $0 to buy groceries. Yes.
Been like in here this morning volunteering as help people doing and how it feels.
So I've spent some time this morning helping out with the volunteers, and I got to say, if you've never volunteered at a food bank, it is a wonderful experience. They're playing great music. They've turned it down for us so that we can have this conversation. But the energy is high. The morale is high. You've got a sense of camaraderie here. Everybody knows that what they're doing is good and needed now more than ever. So if you have never volunteered at a food bank, this is the week to do it. You will be embraced and you will have a wonderful time. Yes.
Can you walk us through the timeline as to when payments are going to stop, 50% kicks in?
Yep.
Kind of what is the plan with what you're doing to kind of get them to go back to those full payments?
Yep. The question was about basic timeline over the last 10 days. So basically, we heard about 10 days ago from the Agriculture Department that as of November 1, they would be zeroing out payments. We filed a lawsuit before that deadline occurred, and we got the court to rule right at that deadline that they needed to provide as much payment as they could with their emergency fund. They said the most that they could do was 50%. That was a few days ago. Now we are back in court asking for full payment.
I wanted to get your reaction to some new update that came in this morning. The Trump administration asked for an emergency clause on the judge's order to fully fund SNAP, saying they will those contingency funds, but not necessarily for that child nutrition program. Do you have any thoughts?
I think they're on the wrong side of this issue. I think most people understand that we're talking about 600,000 kids and 40,000 babies just in North Carolina, that you really need to do everything that you can do. And I think we have a strong argument.
What are your thoughts on this conversation from also the Trump administration and the USDA that Democrats are holding up the ability to move forward with SNAP?
I mean, I think it takes two in this situation. I would recommend everybody in Congress, but particularly the lead negotiators, you need to get in a room. You need to figure out what it's going to take. No one's going to get everything that they want, but we have to bring this shutdown to an end. If we don't, and this emergency fund runs out, we're going to have a massive hunger problem, especially among young people in our state. Yes.
So you said that earlier this morning, people started receiving their benefits, their EBT cards around like 5 a.m. this morning. Kind of, can you walk me through the process of what I guess families can expect to see over the course of the next few weeks?
What was the last part?
What families can expect to see take shape over the course of the next few weeks?
Okay. In North Carolina, as of early this morning, SNAP payments started to be made, which meant that funds started to be transferred to EBT cards. That's roughly a 50% payment. Right now, it is going to be a 50% payment unless we prevail in court or unless the shutdown ends. That's the situation. Yes.
I know that legislature has been a little touchy about suing the federal government from your office and everything. Talk about, if you would, your job, like in terms of, are you the people's lawyer, the state's lawyer? How do you weigh political parties? All these things, it seems like such a whirlwind of different considerations. How do you decide to be here? What's your objective? And what, you get right.
Being Attorney General is a nonpartisan job. It's basically a law enforcement job. So if somebody breaks the law and it hurts the state, I'm going to take them to court. In this situation, the Agriculture Department broke the law by not using their emergency fund that Congress gave them for situations like this. So we took them to court and we won. It's an objective criteria. It's not a political criteria. The reason we have been so successful in court, not just with the administration, but with all the fights that we've picked, is because we take a nonpartisan approach. Did someone break the law? Can we prove it? If yes, we're going to go after them in court. Anything else? All right. Good to see you. Thanks.